Welcome back, everybody. The History Guy here, playing not history, but the future today. This is the Millennium Dawn mod for Hearts of Iron 4. It's a modern-day mod, and there are a couple of other mods that go along with this, which I've listed in the description below. You can see those. There are 3 of them in total, and they all kind of go hand in hand together. I now control, as the nation of Israel, the modern-day nations of Lebanon, Syria, and Iraq. And I've set my sights next on Iran, which will be kind of the first major player on the world stage that I'll be taking on that has an army that can really stand toe-to-toe against me. And in case you're wondering why I don't go after smaller nations like Kuwait, for example, or Jordan, Jordan I'm holding off on because I've got some political decisions I can make regarding Jordan. And as far as Kuwait and these others down here, they're all part of an alliance, and I really just don't want to go to war against all of them yet. So I'm going to focus on a nation like Iran, which has no friends in the world, really, to speak of. I guess if we're thinking in terms of real life, you'd probably get a lot of opposition from a nation like Russia to me doing this, but in this game, that doesn't appear to be an issue. So we're going to start justifying a war against Iran. And that'll take the better part of a year to put that into reality. And it doesn't mean we have to go to war. It just means that we will be able to if we so choose. Most of the world tension that has been created is my fault. But we're going to continue here, just getting ready. And I'm kind of working right now on exercises for my army because I want to build up my army experience so I can actually make some changes. I'm going to remove some of the mechanized brigades from some of my divisions just because I'm having a hard time producing enough mechanized. I've just got a big deficit, and I'm just going to make it a little easier to get my units into the field by not having to worry about producing so many mechanized units. And we'll just be able to produce more that way, but they'll be fully effective that way, and just until I can get my production where I want it to be. It looks like I could produce more artillery, anti-tank artillery, if I wanted to, because I've got a nice surplus of those at the moment. So in the meantime, national focus wise, we are down the road of diplomatic focus. We're about to take an aggressive policy, which means we're going to start focusing on demanding Palestinian territories. Eventually we will claim Jordan, claim the Sinai, which is part of Egypt, and then we've got greater Israel here, and we'll be able to gain annex wars against some countries I've already taken, but Saudi Arabia would be another one. So eventually that's the route we're going to go, and the goal, of course, is that all of this will one day be Israel. Turkey, not so much. They're part of NATO. That's not really a route that I can go, so we're going to have to focus more in this direction, maybe even into Africa. You can see the Caliphate of Sudan. So Sudan's actually got an Islamic government, but they're not part of any faction, nor is Egypt. So that makes it a little easier when none of these countries are in factions. Of course, at some point I'm going to have to stop with the exercises just so I can let my army get ready for war against Iran. You can see they've actually got a decent army. In fact, they probably outnumber me here. They've got infantry brigades. They've got some mechanized infantry. They've got an armored brigade here, some mountain brigades. So I'm going to have to rely pretty heavily on my air power to make that war go in my favor. All right, so the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, it's not really anything that affects the world in any way. It's just one of those things where it just lets you know what's kind of going on in the world. Okay, so we're continuing to just kind of upgrade our military. One of the things that will help being probably outnumbered against Iran is that I will have a better equipped, more efficient, more technologically advanced army, I think. I would assume that would be the case against Iran. I also have 2 nukes. Not entirely sure that I should nuke Iran, but I don't know that the world would necessarily have a problem with that. I guess we'll see. It would certainly make the game more interesting if I used nuclear weapons, so maybe I will. I guess we'll see. There's advanced rocket engines. I don't know if you can do ICBMs in this game or not, or if you just have to basically use your bombers to drop your nukes. But as you can see, let's see here. You have to have air superiority in the region. You have to be at war. but then it can happen. So air superiority will not be a problem once I go to war, I don't think. All right, there's aggressive policy, and you can see that I have generated 31% of the 39% in world tension. I just boosted that again with my aggressive policy, and here we go. We're going to demand the West Bank. It's going to make the West Bank a core of mine, and it's going to trigger an event for Palestine, and of course change the popularity of my government that is already in power. So we're looking to expand at home as well as in Iran, and the date for that, it looks like, is March 5th of 2021. There's a presidential election coming up here in the United States. I don't know how that is going to work as far as what that will trigger. As you can see, Donald Trump is the president. I don't know what events they've got kind of planned into things there, so I don't know exactly how all that'll work, but I am kind of curious to see what happens there. So let's go ahead and I think we'll go ahead and put a stop to the exercises, and we'll go in and look at our armored divisions first of all. I'm going to go ahead and drop one of these mechanized units out of here. And of course it's going to make it that much easier to produce these units in the field and get them into the field. You can see they still have a need for mechanized, but it's not quite as bad as it was before. How many do we need over here? We need... actually, we're maxed out. It's just light mechanized in the infantry brigades. It's motorized that we need some more of there. All right, I think we can probably go with one more reduction of mechanized infantry on this side. Obviously, it makes these units not quite as powerful, not quite as effective, but it makes it easier for me to get the units that they need produced and into the field because they don't need quite so many of them. Lots of infantry equipment available. So let's go ahead and look at our infantry brigades, which are really infantry divisions now. And we're going to go ahead and add some more infantry to them. I'm actually going to go ahead and add some... let's see. No, we don't have enough. Eventually, once we go to war some more, I'm actually going to go ahead and add some tanks to those units. Do we have light armor? Not yet. I thought I had light armor already. I'm confusing my two games that I have going on. I think I just started producing light armor in my Great War mod with Austria about 100 years earlier than this. So, all right, so we're getting these guys into position. It looks like it's pretty even in terms of the military. There's no advantage on either side, but I believe my air power is going to be what makes the difference when the time comes. But we're still several months away from that happening. We're actually going to be demanding the West Bank before we ever get to war with Iran. And that'll be interesting to see what happens there. We can go ahead and get these units into the field. I think that'll be helpful in this upcoming war. Okay. Continuing to upgrade our military where possible. Let's take a look at artillery for a second here. Yeah, let's go with another improvement with artillery. I am curious to see if demanding the West Bank brings me the ire of any of the other Arab nations. I'm hoping it doesn't, because I really don't want to go to war with multiple nations at once. But I can't guarantee that it won't happen. Front line. Offensive line. There we go. Okay. Let's get these other units that just came into the field. Go ahead and get them into position. And now I hopefully should have an advantage in manpower on the lines here. He's got, looks like, about 60 divisions. 63 divisions. So certainly he's got way more than I do. Looks like world tension's coming down a little bit. And there's always the possibility, this has happened before and it could happen again, there's always the possibility that ISIS rebels and I end up having to fight another internal war against a kind of a jihad there. But hopefully that doesn't happen when I'm in the middle of a major war against Iran that could take some time. But it looks like I have an inferior enemy, so I should be in good shape now. Looks like adding those additional units on the front line really helped. And I'm continuously upgrading my forces. Let's look for just a second at the... okay, I guess there's no upgrades we can make to motorize, mechanize, etc. So we'll continue to upgrade some of the... I don't know if I even have some of these. How about land doctrine? We're already working on that. Well, maybe we'll go air doctrine now. Battlefield support. Alright, we are getting ready to demand the West Bank. We're less than a month away. That's going to be a big one. That would definitely be something that would generate a lot of tension in the world in real life. But of course, this is not real life. This is a game. And so we can get away with certain things we probably would never be able to get away with in real life as Israel. Alright, so I guess there should be a presidential election happening. I don't know if we'll see any of the results of that right away. Because technically the new president wouldn't take office until January anyway. All right, we're still a couple of months away from this war with Iran being a possibility, but we're going to see what happens with the West Bank here in the next 5 days. I wouldn't expect the Palestinians just to say, yeah, here, have it. But we're going to find out. All right. Palestine cedes the West Bank. Did not expect that. Following Israeli demands, Palestine has agreed to cede the West Bank to Israel. The West Bank has been a hotly contested area in the region, being the ground for numerous military incursions by Israel following numerous attacks from the area. Thus, the Israeli government has proclaimed, "We as a people have finally decided that enough was enough, that we were done dying from attacks, that we were done with the needless bloodshed, and issued an ultimatum which was accepted. We have reclaimed a peace," peace is spelled wrong, it's I before E except after C, of our homeland. A piece of our homeland is restored. Look at that. All right, well, next comes Gaza. That'll be interesting. That's not going to be met with a great deal of favor, I wouldn't think. So, of course, now we have more production that we've just gained here, and we need to look at what that means. All right, France, we're going to need some more steel from you. Otherwise, I think we're in good shape. Okay, let's go ahead and look at production for a second here. Got a nice surplus of all of these things at the moment. Even light mechanized. Okay, so we're finally catching up on mechanized. We only have a deficit now of 2,500. Wow, I actually need a lot of steel all of a sudden. What happened? Huh. Let's trade for what we need. All of my factories are now trading for steel. Okay. Are we good now? Looks like we still need steel, but I don't have any available factories to trade for it, so Interesting. All right. Let's continue down the road of our land doctrine. Let's go ahead and take a look over here at industry for a minute. What else can we do? Level up some of our factories. Yeah, that may be a route that we have to go here. Let's look at construction for just a second. Steel factory. All right. Let me look for just a second at the existing steel factories that I have. Do I have any is the question. Well, I've got a tungsten factory, but I can't improve that one at all. I guess I don't. I may not have any steel factories anywhere. So it's probably time to build some. Okay. So we'll start working on building some steel factories. We'll get them going. Eventually develop my own steel so I don't have to be trading for so much from everyone else. All right, we're still a couple of months away from war with Iran. That's probably not going to happen until the next episode, just because it's taken so long to make that happen. A lot of technology in the works, though. We're going to have 3 nukes by the time we go to war with Iran. We're also going to have demanded Gaza right about that time. So there's a lot happening right now. As you can see, that definitely changes popularity for Islamists. So there are going to be some people that are none too happy with me going that route of demanding Gaza. There's not a lot there in terms of factories and such. Might have to make some changes to production just to deal with this shortage of steel that I have right now. Yeah, it's just my Navy, which I'm really not all that concerned about right now. Main battle tanks, we're getting just about everything upgraded there. We still have a kind of a need for 500 more. I could, in theory, get 7 more units into the fight right away. They're short on mechanized and motorized, but they have everything else they need. Improved artillery upgrade. So a lot happening. Let's go one more route. Let's go advanced artillery. So let's keep upgrading the artillery here. We're almost into 2021. Libertarian idealism is what they're working on in the United States. Let's look at some of these other nations here. Now that we hit 2021, Theresa May still in charge of the UK. Angela Merkel still going strong there. I confess I'm not as familiar with the leaders of some of these other nations. Let's see if... looks like Putin's still going strong in Russia. And they are part of this faction with Belarus, Armenia, Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, and Kyrgyzstan. All right. Looks like we still have quite an advantage in terms of the enemy, considered vastly superior or inferior to our own. Eventually, I could get really crazy and drop some paratroopers back behind the lines, but I don't think I'll worry about that right now. So here comes jet engines, and we're going to have our 3rd nuke as well. All right, so that's all maxed out now. Let's go ahead and get modern hardware. It's going to give me a nice little boost to my research time. All right, so public elections are being held and the votes will soon be counted. All major parties are looking at one another to form up or antagonizing government. Who could possibly win? Developers note the ruling party can defend its title if it has 20% popular support. Another party can take over if they have 30% or more popular support. Should all parties have below 20%, the ruling party will also win. The ruling party has won. All right. So there you have it. Next elections will be in January 2025. Here's all our occupied territories in case anybody was curious about that. I have no intention of releasing any of those nations right now, though at some point that may be something I need to consider doing. I'm just not at that place yet. So, all right, we are just about caught up on mechanized, finally. Looks like we need some motorized now, so we may need to shift some of the production from mechanized over to motorized to compensate for that. And that actually resolved our steel deficit issue. Let's look at trade for a second. We actually, all right, sorry US, we don't need your steel anymore. Looks like we're good everywhere else. Okay, so what are we, about a month away from the war with Iran? That's definitely something that we will not get to in this episode. We'll probably come right up to the cusp of it. But we're going to take this right up to where we demand Gaza. We're going to see what happens there. And then we'll stop. And that way the next episode can start right with the invasion of Iran, which is going to be a big one. That will not be a war like some of the others that goes by quickly and easily. I don't expect. All right, we're now 17 days away from demanding Gaza. That's going to be interesting. I don't know. As much as I didn't believe they'd give up the West Bank, I really can't believe they're going to give up Gaza. I could just as easily see people go to war with me as allow me to take Gaza. So that's why I want to see that happen first, because I don't want to declare a war on Iran if I'm going to end up at war over Gaza with somebody else. All right, here we go. Just about a week to go until that happens. And right about that same moment is when our justification for war is going to be completed. So this may be one of the first episodes I've had in a little while where I did not fight a war for expansion. War gold, all the same exact moment, both of those things. And Gaza, it looks like they gave it up. Okay, so I didn't get an event that triggered to make that happen, but they did give up Gaza. Here's where it gets crazy. Now, I don't know if I want to go down this route yet, because I don't want to be fighting a war with Iran at the same time that I'm putting in a claim on Jordan. So I may just hold off a little while I fight this war with Iran and get that completed. Maybe we look at a domestic focus here for a little while. Yeah, see, some of this would be good because it will give me cores in some of these places, and by creating cores for those, it allows me to build more there. So that's one option that'll give me some manpower as well, some land forts. I could also go the route of a communist. It looks like a communist state. I don't know if that's what that is, but it definitely looks like. Wow, we would become a monarchist. It actually looks like that might be kind of interesting. National spirit, prepare for the Messiah. I'm a Christian, so I believe he already came, but that's neither here nor there. I'm leading a Jewish nation, so obviously that's not the case for them. Maybe we invest a little bit in the military for now. Yeah, let's go ahead and go that route, just to kind of hold off on what's going to happen here, because next comes the invasion of Iran. We're going to wrap up right there, come back with that episode probably tomorrow, because I'm eager to see that one unfold. So as always, thanks for watching. I welcome your input. If you have comments or questions, if there's something you want me to show you in the game, something you want me to talk about, if there's a direction you think I should go and you have a suggestion with that, please feel free to do that as well. I'm contemplating whether or not to use nukes in this war with Iran. If I feel like I need to kind of break a stalemate, I may do that just because it'll be interesting to see what happens. If I feel like it's going to be a pretty easy war without it, I'll probably hold on to those until I need them because I'm not producing all that many. So if you would hit that thumbs up and like this, I would appreciate that very much. If you haven't already, hit subscribe. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you back here again soon with another episode of Israel in Millennium Dawn.